All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to watch this real quick, okay? Where's the why are people quitting TBC?
Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about why I think TBC Classic didn't turn out to be as popular as many people.
Look at that!
Why I think TBC...
Bro, like in every WoW video, it's like people put me in the video because they know I'm already going to be in the video by reacting to it anyway. Short hair? No, look at that. It was like 2019. It's not that big of a deal.
It didn't turn out to be as popular as many people expected, and why I think the population of the game is dwindling slightly. I'm not saying the game is dead or anything by any means, but things are definitely on a downward slope. You may not have felt the effects really on a high populated server, but we all have to at least admit that there's definitely a little bit of a tank shortage right now that there wasn't when the game launched. And overall, we have to admit that the launch of TBC Classic...
I'll tell you one reason why there's a tank shortage in TBC. It's because it sucks dick to tanking. It's not fun to play the game while you're a tank. It's literally that simple. If you're doing 5-man dungeons and you're tanking, you're not having fun. It's just bad. It's bad design, and that's why Blizzard changed it.
It was nowhere near as big as the launch of Classic WoW. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to analyse every single element of this. And before I jump down my throat, I definitely don't think it's because Blizzard didn't release enough content for the launch of the game.
Yeah,
okay, because that would only encourage hardcore min-maxers to quit because they're bored, because they have not enough content to play.
Yeah, that's
and that obviously doesn't represent the majority of the people who play TBC Classic. But nonetheless, I do think the population of the game is dwindling slightly. If we analyse the statistics of the launch of Classic WoW against TBC Classic, I always saw Classic WoW on Twitch with over 900,000 people watching it, whereas the highest I saw TBC Classic launch was over 200,000 people watching it.
So he's saying there's less people that are watching. Did you remember this? So anybody any Asmon... If there are anybody who's not an Asmon lore master here, not really a lore master, this is a very popular thing that happened. So I got randomly disconnected on the launch night of Classic WoW in front of like 200,000 people were watching me, and it disconnected me, and it put me in a 3-hour queue. So what I did is I turned around and I fell asleep on the floor while people were watching me, and I had over 100,000 people watching me sleep on the floor. And then I had my friends call me whenever my queue was over. And then I woke back up and I played the game for the rest of the 24 hours. Yeah, sleep stream meta, exactly.
Bigger streamers out there, I don't really think they got higher than usual viewers. In fact, Asmongold right now is getting more views from just playing Final Fantasy.
True.
Than he ever did playing TBC Classic, which I just find absolutely mind-boggling.
It's not mind-boggling at all. It's because people have already seen TBC. People know what TBC is. And also, there's a lot of people... Here's the reality, is that Final Fantasy is a more narrative and better streaming game than TBC is. TBC, there are very few Final Fantasy quests that are go out and kill 30 of X. I'm sorry, but go out and kill 30 of X is boring to watch. Whereas like in Final Fantasy, you are always watching the narrative. You're always watching something happening. So if there are people that care about the narrative, which there are a lot of people who care about the narrative in Final Fantasy, and I've done my best to try to make it entertaining too, that's really where the enjoyment comes from. My TBC stream views went up after I hit max level, whereas like usually for most people, they get the most views while they're leveling, and then it goes down once they hit max level. But why is that? Because I could make my own content. I could go and do Magtheridon with a bunch of random people. I could do Gruul's Lair for 8 hours with Bodegro. That's way better content than killing 30 birds for him at Nestingwary. It just is.
Many of my favourite streamers have taken a massive tank in viewership, including myself actually.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
just feel like I
Nobody
had,
wants to watch
and
TBC.
Everyone else had, triple viewers before the game launched, and then when the game was actually launched, then yeah, we just had a massive tank.
No, that always happens though. Like any time that a game comes out, the anticipation and hype for a new game is almost always bigger and larger than the actual game coming out itself. Every time the hype for the game is bigger than the actual game. 100%
viewership. And I think the first big reason for this is the nature of the TBC Classic launch and the timing. So let me explain what I think about this. I think obviously the character boost and the deluxe edition And the extra monetization overall of a game has put many people off the entire, classic WoW experience.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, a few of my friends didn't even bother to play TBC because of the character boost. It really did just put them off. Some of my friends actually just totally quit Classic WoW because of the boost. They were so against.
That's fine. I think anybody who quit Classic WoW because of the boost, I think that's completely fair. And if you did that, you're probably doing the game a favor. For me, I feel like I kind of have to because it's my job to stream, right? But the reality is that it does devalue the game in a huge way. I am very anti-boost. I think boosting is dog shit. There's no reason to have it in the game. It doesn't do anybody any favors. It's not good. Darkport, yeah, I don't like it. And Quinn, wait, what about Quinn? You boosted? Of course I did. The thing is, it's not that here's an example, right? I gave this example before. If Quinn boosted in Final Fantasy, yeah, a lot of people do. But here's what I'm saying is in a lot of these games, if you gave the game a vendor that you could click the vendor and sell one rat tail for 1,000,000 gold, people would gold cap themselves in 5 minutes. Every single person would hit the button to get 1,000,000 gold per rat tail, but that doesn't fucking mean that it's a good thing for the game. You can simultaneously take advantage of a system while also thinking that it's bad for the game. Does that make sense?
Against the concept of a deluxe edition and a character boost, but decided to boycott the company.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that didn't play.
Entirely. I think overall, with the deluxe edition and a character boost, Blizzard have killed the heart of Classic WoW, and yeah, the extra monetization of the game is just totally...
In my opinion, I think the boost isn't even the worst thing. I think that, in a way, this sounds crazy. I know you guys might disagree with me on this, but I actually think that the mount is worse. I know it sounds crazy because, after you get the boost, you're done. You don't see the boosted players unless you're in Hellfire Peninsula. It's not really, visible to the player. But every single time that you're in chat and you see somebody on a mount, that kills the immersion. That's oh, that guy spent $40. That guy spent $50, however much the mount is. Every single time. Because that's something that doesn't go away. It's bigger than all of the other mounts. It's more obnoxious. It stands out way more. And everybody sees it.
It's just kind of ruined it for a lot of people. I don't think TBC Classic had the same spirit as the Classic WoW launch. Plus, you got to think it is also summer, so the timing of the release is not that great. Because obviously in the summer people are more likely to be outside with their friends, enjoying the rays and everything. Especially as we've had many COVID restrictions.
No, that's not it. That's not it. People, that's not it. Because if that was the case, then it wouldn't explain why a lot of people are playing Final Fantasy, right? Because it's in the middle of the summer. Nah, that's not it.
They're just beginning to ease up, so people are even more desperate to get outside. It's also a very bad timing because 9.1 has just been released.
It's very good
many
point,
of the hardcore Metaslave gamers who have rushed for content in TBC Classic are very likely...
You don't have to be a hardcore Metaslave to be done with content in TBC. I completely disagree with this. TBC content was pump and dump. You go in there, it's one and done, pump and dump. You go in there, you do Karazhan, it's a joke. You do Magtheridon, it's a joke. You do Gruul, it's an even bigger joke than Magtheridon. These are super, super easy bosses. There is no hardcore min-maxer that's out of content. Literally anybody who plays the game on even a semi-serious level is approaching best in slot.
Gone and returned to play retail instead because a new raid has come out.
Absolutely.
Okay? I think this time round, Classic WoW actually got a lot more retail players than it did when Classic WoW was released.
Very true.
Because Blizzard took so long to release 9.1, but people got bored of playing retail.
They went to go play
and then
Classic.
more people, were
TBC.
bored and just went to try out TBC Classic instead.
They're
But
bored.
obviously now, because they weren't really fully committed to TBC Classic, they've gone back, okay? It would have been better
Another reason is TBC is a lot closer to Classic, TBC is a lot closer to retail in the way that it plays than Classic is. Classic is a very different experience than retail WoW in a lot of different ways. So it makes sense that people are going to go back to 9.1 because it's the newer content. And that's even the way that Blizzard has designed it. They have designed their content release schedule to be Classic WoW, like taking their player base and taking them through Classic, Retail, and continuously keeping people engaged in different ways like that. It's seasonal content. Yes, exactly. And their seasons are supposed to overlap each other, which is, in my opinion, a good idea. I think this is a smart thing for Blizzard to do. It is smart for them to go and say, okay, you're going to play Classic for a while, and then you're going to play Retail WoW. This is the smart thing for them to do.
Shadowlands, obviously wasn't delayed, because by the time TBC Classic was released, 9.1 probably would have been on farm, and then people would have been more inclined to go and play TBC Classic. But this time around, 9.1... was released when it did, and it's basically pushed a player base back to playing retail very soon after TBC Classic was released.
Yeah, they would have just
I think
quit.
what would have been better in this situation is if TBC Classic was actually delayed a little bit till maybe September, okay, when everything's getting colder in the outside world, people are more likely to...
Realistically, what would have been better is if TBC came out at the exact time that it did, but 9.1 came out 3 months ago like it should have, and people were already on the downturn of 9.1, and they could have moved over and played TBC. Like, that's really what it was.
Just be staying indoors with in their evenings. More and more people would have been bored of retail to give TBC Classic a bit of a spin, and more people would just generally have been inside playing video games at that time. But obviously, there's probably a lot of financial motivation in the background going on, because obviously they probably wanted to meet particular expectations, particular goals financially as a company for this quarter. Because these days, game developers, they're really just the, slaves to shareholders and accountants. That they want to look good on a spreadsheet of their, quarter financial reports or whatever, whatever it's called. That's the only thing they really care about these days, is they care about looking good on a piece of paper to shareholders rather than making the players happy. I mean, we're even at
that's because you have people that don't give a shit about the product that are making decisions for the product. Like, it's actually not that complicated. You have people that don't even know what the max level in Burning Crusade is, that are telling them that it needs to be released in this quarter. They don't understand anything about it. It's the Steve Jobs video.
Where Blizzard developers are actually insulting streamers. Okay, we're actually at that point now, but that's not what this video is about. Let's swiftly move on to another key point. My third point is faction imbalance, and obviously the faction imbalance issue was massive.
Like that. I worked it out with that guy. Everything's fine. Like, everything's fine. It's not a thing. I don't want to have any more drama about that. Like, I worked it out with the guy. It's fine. Like, I don't keep drama up with that or whatever. Like, I know obviously, he might not know that or whatever, but, just for you guys to know, everything with me and him, we worked it out in DMs. Everything's chill. Everything's cool. Okay? So, I have no resentment or ill will or anything.
Messed up battlegrounds. Most people who play TBC Classic play Horde, and obviously this has totally messed up the queue times for the Horde side, and this has encouraged many people to quit. For instance, Hamster Wheel, you should go and check out his video. And there's a lot of people who play TBC Classic exclusively because they want to play PvP content, because obviously they really like Arena. It's very fun and a very addictive part of TBC Classic. I definitely understand why people just play TBC Classic just to play Arena, don't even bother playing raids. But they can't do something as basic as farming their PvP gear to be competitive in arenas, because they have to spend 24 hours of playtime to get one piece of blue gear, right? Which is just extremely
for a PvP
ridiculous.
Player, that's very true.
Okay, luckily Blizzard are fixing this issue with the same faction BG implementation, but honestly, it's way too late. Okay, it's way too late because people have already quit. And I honestly don't understand why this wasn't implemented for the launch of a game. Actually, I don't understand why it wasn't implemented in Classic WoW, to be honest, because we had this issue in
I do think that the same faction BGs are going to end up killing Alliance. They're going to end up killing the Alliance, because there's no reason to play Alliance. Why would you play Alliance? What do you get out of playing Alliance? Stop it? No, I'm not. I don't give a shit. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. All I'm saying is that this is what's going to happen. What's your solution? I don't know. I genuinely do not know. Because there's a reason, there's an argument and a counter argument that I think are both very strong for every single decision that they make.
Wow. I don't understand why it wasn't implemented. People, the Horde side were waiting an hour for Alteric Valley
It's
keys.
really bad.
Like years ago, almost. So like, I don't understand why they didn't see it as an issue there and, you know, planned ahead into the future. So yeah, that's obviously probably put a lot of people off. It's probably killed a big part of the PvP audience of TBC Classic. Now my fourth and final reason is other MMOs.
Yeah.
Particularly Final Fantasy, okay, which has been gaining a lot of traction recently because many of the big streamers like Asmongold have been playing it and absolutely loving it and getting very hooked on it to the point where they are playing more Final Fantasy than playing World of Warcraft, okay? And this means that Final Fantasy is gaining a lot more popularity and traction because it's occasionally actually been higher than World of Warcraft is on the Twitch section. And this has obviously encouraged the curiosity of many MMO players who have decided to make the switch. Many people are very frustrated with TBC Classic and retail World of Warcraft to the point where they would be, irritated enough to want to go and try out a new MMO. And I don't blame them, to be honest. I mean, me personally, Final Fantasy isn't really my jam, but I definitely want to try out New World when that is released at the end of summer. You've also got to think about how a lot of fans of streamers are easily influenced by the actual streamer themselves and will follow them like a moth to a flame. So I definitely think a lot of the fans of the bigger streamers are probably going to try out Final Fantasy purely because their favourite streamer is playing it. I
think that's true to an extent, but it's not as true as you might imagine, because there's a lot of people who they'll watch me play the game and they've already been playing the game. Like they've already been playing it. Now, obviously, yes, of course, streamers drive viewership to games. That's why people pay streamers millions of dollars to play games. Like that, of course. They wouldn't be paying streamers all the money to play games if they weren't getting something out of it. However, I think that a lot of my viewers, in many cases, have been playing for a long time.
Far-fetched to say that Final Fantasy is becoming the new WoW killer, but only time will tell. Because like I said, more and more streamers, it seems like I've got like a lot of World of Warcraft streamers on my follow page when I jump on Twitch, and it seems like day by day more and more are in the Final Fantasy section. So who knows what's going to happen there in the long run. But anyway guys, I'm going to end the video there. My name is Metagoblin. To my next video, ciao.
Yeah, that could definitely be the case, man. And correct, real Wowco or Asmongold. No, it's not about all me, right? Yeah, I do think there were a lot of things. Like I personally don't think that there was anything that had to do with like the time of the year, because it's just not like this. Like there are verifiable, like the fact that Final Fantasy ran out of keys implies that this is not just streamer hype or something like that in Twitch bubble. This is actually something that's happening. See what I'm saying?